So recently I made a long-term review of these guys. They are Clik valves, one of my personal favorite products of 2025. But on the review, you guys said they kind of have a competitor, and that is these guys. They are called the BBB Valve Caps. They're basically just a cap that quite literally screws onto the end of your valve. Now, the main reason that they've advertised themselves, these guys, is that they want to convert your Presta valves here into a Schrader valve. Now, there are a number of benefits from going to Schrader. One of them being that they're very robust and reliable, not that Presta isn't. And the other one being more airflow, basically making it easier to pump up your tyre. Installation is extremely easy. All you have to do is unscrew the old Presta valve here, and then by hand you can screw this over the top of the valve stem and just go finger tight, and that's it. So for the rest of this video, here's what I think is good about them, here's what I think is bad about them, and would I buy them over my favorite product, the Clik valves. Let's get into it. Okay, let's kick it off with airflow, and these do genuinely provide an easier pumping experience, especially when compared to Presta here. Just having a bigger nozzle with more airflow just makes pumping up your tyre like 10% easier. Not that it was hard in the first place, but it just is. When I compare it to pumping up a Presta valve here, I will say I think it's very slightly quieter. Once again, not something that you're ever really going to notice, but it is. Next up is compatibility. If you have a bike fleet or a fleet of things where you have Schrader heads on everything, then making any of your Presta Schrader as well, it's just going to be nice to have one pump that does all of your bikes. So yeah, if you've got a big bike fleet and you want to convert everything into one thing, then this is an easy way to do it. I gotta say, they feel really, really well built. They feel nice in the hands, they feel absolutely solid, and with how easy they are to install, I would say they're actually quite a decent quality item. Do let me caveat this one though, guys. I only have 2 of these and I've only had them here for a month, and I've kind of just been popping in and out and just occasionally pumping up tyres just to use them more often. But I'm a sample size of 1. If any of you have had any of these fail on you, I would like you to let me know in the comments below, but for me, they've been good. On the topic of reliability, these have been, well, leak free for me. The tyres have always held their pressure, so it seems like, yeah, the quality of when they interact with any previous valve, finger tight has been more than good enough to make sure that this tyre doesn't leak. Finally, I'd say the last good thing about these is that they're a great way to add colour to your bike. You know, if you want to match it to the paint job like I've done with the purple and purple here, and you can see inside the card they've got all the other colour options, black, bronze, red, yellow, blue. So yeah, it's just a great way to add colour and make your bike just that tiny bit more interesting. Next up, seems like a small thing, but the air release is very easy. You can see this big old silver patch here. Quite literally just press that and it's easy to release the air. Not quite as easy as Presta, where you literally just tap the top and you don't even need to use your fingernail or anything, but still easy enough. That brings me on to what I think are the disadvantages to these things. Let's get into them. Disadvantage number 1, I think that these guys are actually pretty bulky. You know, they add some weight to the wheel here, just in terms of physical size, and I can imagine actually probably in weight as well. So you might need to, if you balance your wheels, you might need to add more weight to the bottom of the wheel, just to rebalance by adding a tiny bit more weight here. If you want to talk about speed, really there's no advantage to making these go fast. You still have to press and lift up the tyre lever, which is kind of just work, especially when I compare them to the Clik valves, which I'm going to do later, which is just so much faster and simpler. Basically for me, unless your whole fleet is a Schrader fleet, they don't really make things any more convenient for you. Next up, in my opinion, I think they're fairly expensive for what they are. They come in at about £15 in here in the UK, depending on where you're looking, but that seems to be the normal price, and then you've got to add delivery on top of that because it's quite a smaller, cheaper item. Basically, for something quite small, it's just fairly expensive, and I'm going to compare that to the Clik valves in the direct comparison in a minute. Okay, next up, this one's kind of an important one because these can only be installed after you've put your inner tube in or your valve plug in, basically. So you can't install them and then feed it through the normal Presta size holes here. It just quite literally physically will not go through. It's blocked just because it's bigger and bulkier, basically. So pretty much any road bike will. Yeah, you're gonna have to take this off, install your inner tube, and then screw it back on. Next disadvantage I would say is electric mini pumps. With a Presta, if you need to, you can just press them straight on, whereas with the BBB valves, you are going to need the extra dongle that comes with it. That's just because of the larger size, it's just gonna need it to be threaded on. So if you're an electric pump user, yeah, you're just gonna have to carry that dongle around with you. So those are what I think are the disadvantages, obviously very minor, but when you just got products that work pretty well like these do, you kind of have to be that nitpicky about it to find those disadvantages. Next up, Tubless. Unfortunately, I'm gonna need the help from the comments on this one. Have you guys had these clog up on you? I've only been running them for a month, and I just use TPU inner tubes nowadays for pretty much everything apart from my time trial bike. Only there I run tubeless. So yeah, if you've had these and they've clogged up on you, I would like to know basically. So right here, I've got their main competitor, which is the Clik valves. Like I said, something that I've really loved for a long time now. So these bits are just going to be basically a direct comparison to these BBB valves to these Clik valves. Let's get into it. The BBB valves and the Clik valves here. And genuinely, in terms of actual force required to pump up, I really cannot tell any difference between the two. They both have a noticeable improvement compared to the normal Presta valve. But yeah, when I compare them, they feel the same to me. I could buy like a handheld dynometer for like £400 or something and see if I can measure a difference, but if I can't really feel it personally without it, is it going to make that much difference to you in real life? Probably not. Next up comes pricing, and while the BBBs come in at, like I said, here in the UK about £15, and actually the Clik valves come in cheaper for me for around £12. You can normally buy 2 valve cores and the adapter head here, which is going to get you set up on literally any pump. You can get 2 Clik valve cores for £6 alone. So yeah, in my opinion, the Clik valves are actually a better value for money. Well, next topic on size. In my opinion, I think the Clik valves here are, well, way less bulky. They fit into that normal Presta shape much better. They're slightly longer than a normal Presta head, but yeah, they do fit in better. If I bring that to a direct comparison with the BBBs here, yeah, you can just see it's bulkier. And in fact, if I hold up the Clik valve core, you can just physically see it there. You know, it just looks a little bit garish on your wheels. That if you ride it like, say, like 50 kilometers an hour, I can imagine if you were in a wind tunnel, there would be a measurable difference. It would be very small, I would admit, but the BBBs would technically be slower. When it comes to electric mini pumps, well, the Clik valve is going to thread into anything that has a Schrader attachment. So just like this Cuspo X1 mini pump here, but it won't connect directly into the Sight Plus one. So it seems that for probably most electric mini pumps, you are going to need the dongle anyway. And if you've got the dongle, well, it's not really taking up any more space just to have that extra piece on there. It's so small. So I don't really see any difference with the electric mini pumps. Backward compatibility. Pretty much any normal pump has a Schrader attachment to it, as well as a Presta. This one, for example, it's just a reversible insert here. Whereas for the Clik valves, you are going to need the adapter, and the adapter then goes into the Schrader side and you just lock it in and then it's ready to go. But I would say that the BBBs are slightly more backward compatible. But if you've got one of these adapters hanging around with you, once again, they really do not take up much space at all. They are minuscule. Then you're going to be just fine. Not only that, with the Clik valves here, I have found actually that the Presta side of things does go on and you can lock that in and you can still pump up the normal Clik valves with a Presta side pump. So they are backward compatible still, in my opinion. And you can see with your BBB valves here, you do have to do your normal press on, lift your lever up, and then you can get pumping. And lever down, loosen off. This is where the Clik valve is obviously way superior. I mean, it's just literally on, off, on, off, on, off. It's just so convenient. I moaned about it in previous videos, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's not that much more convenient. Once you've done it, there's no going back. There's just no going back. The Clik valve is so convenient and so easy to use, and it's just so satisfying every single time you put it on. Very satisfying. So yeah, in terms of convenience, the Clik valve's an easy winner there. Honestly, because of this one feature alone, just how easy it is to get in and out of, And because the BBB valves really don't offer any more airflow, any more quietness, any more convenience, you know, you can just leave these Clik valve cores in the whole time and it still comes out. You don't have to take them off to take the inner tube out or the valve out. It's the same kind of effort when it comes to electric mini pumps as well. Because of all of those factors, I would just buy the Clik valves still. I think they're more convenient, they have the same airflow, and they're far more satisfying to use in everyday life. I promise you, if you pump up your tyres every day, just go for the Clik valves. Well guys, there it is, my review of the BBB Valve Caps. Quite a nice way to add a little bit of colour to your bike if you want to, and if you only like using Schrader heads. So yeah, there's my opinion. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions that you don't think I've asked, put them in the comments below. I reply to most things. If you want to follow my daily shenanigans, you can find them over on Instagram over here. Other than that, I've been Jason. This has been Cycling Unboxed. I'll see you in another video.